if you have been looking for an IP address management tool that knows something about your subnets and addresses, the VRFs and VLANs, are you also looking for something to replicate your real environment to a virtual one, like racks, devices, the connections, some kind of virtualizations and clusters, and data circuits? Then NetBox should be a good option for you. As you can see on this web page, it gives you an idea about what NetBox can do. With this video, I will start a new series related to NetBox on how you can configure it, how to set it up, and how to add data into the tool and operate it. Regarding the NetBox installation, you'll need a couple of things. You'll need the PostgreSQL database, you need Redis, NetBox, some kind of HTTP daemon, and you could also enable LDAP authentication for this one. Over here in this picture, it shows you the application stack. You have either NGINX or Apache as a reverse proxy. Then you have the HTTP server which is running on Unicorn, the NetBox application itself, and the framework, the Python web framework for PostgreSQL and Redis. First, I will have to tell you something about the installation. This video is made specifically for CentOS. If you're running Debian or Ubuntu, you might find the installation instructions on this website very useful. I have tested it myself and everything worked just fine with these instructions only, nothing special. But for CentOS, it was quite a pain to see how you can set it up, because this guy which is maintaining the application, I think he's like some kind of Ubuntu user and doesn't really focus on CentOS part. Let's go here, and as you can see, NetBox supports PostgreSQL 9.6 or later. And in this example, I'm going to show you how you can install actually the latest one, which is 12. So we will need to go to our CLI, and we will start by editing the CentOS base repo. And over here, you will not going to have it by default. You will need to exclude the PostgreSQL from further updates in this repository, because you will download a separate repository yourself. So I'm just going to exit this one without saving. Just don't forget to put this line in here. And this applies to CentOS 7 and CentOS 8. Depending on your version of CentOS, you can the commands are actually quite different, and some modules are a little bit different from one version to another one. So you'll need to go on this web page and follow the instructions. We have already configured the YAML repository. Now you will need to follow the instructions for the Red Hat family on how you can download it. And for example, we will select the 12 version, the latest, and the platform will be for CentOS 8. In case you are running CentOS 7, the instructions will be a little bit different and you'll have to do it this way. But since we have CentOS 8, I'm gonna follow these ones. So you will need to install this repository. Then we will need to disable the built-in PostgreSQL module with this command. For CentOS 7, this one is not needed. And then we will simply need to install the PostgreSQL server. However, except this one, we will need to add a couple of more, like contribute, some libraries, and some development packages. For NetBox, these are the packages that you will need to install concerning PostgreSQL 12. I'm going to simply hit enter and let it install everything. Okay, so now we are done. Let's go back to the installation instructions. And right now we will need to initialize the database with this command. Okay, it's turned on. Now, if we are going back to the previous documentation for NetBox, you will see that the CentOS user should modify the PostgreSQL configuration to accept password-based authentication by replacing indent with MD5 for all the host entries within this file. And as you can see, for Ubuntu is not needed, or Debian systems. To modify that file, we will need to replace indent with MD5 for this file. Okay, and right now the change is made. So now that we are done, we need to enable the PostgreSQL to run it at boot and then start the service. Now we will need to check if the service is up and running, and it is. The next step would be to create a database for the NetBox tool and assign it a username and password for authentication. And you can do this with the following commands. First, I'm going to show it to you in the documentation to see how it looks like. So you can use these commands to do it. Now we will create a database called NetBox. Then we will create a password for the NetBox user. So we will create a user NetBox with this password. You can choose whatever password you want. You don't really need to use the one which is stated here on the official documentation for NetBox. I'm just going to use this one because it's for demo purposes. And right now we will have to grant the privileges for the NetBox user to the NetBox database. And now let's just quit and test to see if the password and the user that we put up here will work. So this will be the username and this will be our database. And right now it's asking for the password. I'm just going to give it from here. Paste it. And as you can see, it works just fine. So I'm going to quit. The next one on the list will be Redis. Here you can find some details about Redis. I'm not going to go into them. you will need to enable the EPL release repository, and then we will install Redis, start it, and enable it. Just to be sure that everything is working fine, we will test to see if the Redis service is functional. By using the Redis CLI. And if it is successful, we should get a pong to a ping, and it is. Good, so this was the easy part. Then we will go for NetBox. Now, depending on your operating system, how it came, if it was some kind of vanilla operating system, if it didn't have certain tools installed, you will need to run these commands right here. And for CentOS 8, this one is not needed. For CentOS 7, you will need to run it. Now, because I already have some of these packages right here, I'm going to install just a few of them. Another important thing would be for you to check at this moment in time the AC Linux. AC Linux status, and you can do it with this one. You can see that it's enabled, it's enforcing, and actually because we will run HTTP ports on these ones, you will have to either disable AC Linux, or you will have to put it in permissive mode. And for this purpose, I'm just gonna disable it. So be aware of AC Linux for CentOS. Disable it or put it into permissive mode. And here I'm gonna replace the word enforcing to disabled for this file right here. And for the changes to take effect, we will actually have to reboot. Okay, so the box is up again. And as you can see, AC Linux status is disabled, which is good. So we have installed these dependency packages. However, we forgot about yum utils and the Python 3.6 development. So I will simply cancel these ones and do yum install -y, then yum utils and Python 3.6 development, because we already have Python 3.6 installed. Okay, I was missing this line right here, and it's not actually with a dot for Python 3.6, it's 3.6 altogether. And yeah, everything is working fine right now. Let's go back to our documentation. We have two options here. We either download the archive for NetBox, or we simply can clone the Git repository. So in our case, I'm just going to clone it. Git is already installed, and we will do this command here. We will install NetBox into option directory, and I'm going to do the cloning right here. After the cloning of the GitHub repository for NetBox, we will have to create a user, and as you can see, only the CentOS users need to create the group first, and then change the permissions to some directories in here. Yeah, and of course we will need to add the user NetBox. So first we're gonna be the group. Then we will have to create the user and add it to the NetBox group. Once we have done that, we will change the permissions for media directory, which can be found in NetBox. Okay, everything is done. And right now we will have to set up a Python virtual environment for NetBox. Okay, let's see where we are exactly. So we are in opt. Let's do an NL, list all, and then we will have to go to NetBox directory, list all. And as you can see, our Python virtual environment was created here. Now we will actually have to activate this virtual environment using this command. Okay, and as you can see, we are in the Python virtual environment here. Now for this one, we will actually have to create a configuration file. So to do that, we will have to go to NetBox. Sorry, not this one, NetBox. And there is, we are not in the correct one. There is another NetBox folder here. This one can be a little bit confusing, so always make sure to see in which directory you are in exactly. Creating the configuration file is quite easy because we will copy the example file. So copy configuration file, example to configuration file that py, and right now in here we will actually have to modify the configuration file to adjust it to our server. Here we will have the loud host. Actually, this is where your NetBox IP address is listening on. So my IP address will be 10.0.100.14. Next, we will have the database name for PostgreSQL, and the user will be the same NetBox. Then we will have to put the password for it. And since we were using the password that is on this website, I will have to go back to PostgreSQL and take this password from here. Then dump it on this one. For Redis, we don't really need to change anything. And we will actually have to generate and use a secret key for NetBox. I have opened another tab with a connection to this one. And you'll simply need to go to option, NetBox, then NetBox again. And over here we have the Python script for generating a secret key for NetBox. So we will just need to run this one. Okay, let's do it this way. Python 3 and then the script. Okay, yeah, because it's not a shell script, it's a Python script. So we will need to copy this secret and then paste it in here. Okay, everything is done right now. We will have to save it with Ctrl O. With Ctrl O to write the information and then exit. Let's go back to the official documentation and see what we need to do next. So we will need to run the database migrations, and we will need to go to this path. And since we have it here, I'm just going to copy it. Let's just make sure that we are in the correct directory. Okay, and we are, because we have managed that py. And to migrate the database, you'd simply need to do this. And there is no module Django. And by the way, most probably this is because we forgot to run the requirements. So let me quickly do this. We will do pip3 install -r requirements. And yeah, we will need to go one folder above this one for the virtual environment. And as you can see, it's working. Okay, let's go back to the previous folder. Okay, and right now we can run the migrate command. And right now everything should work fine. Okay, everything is done. So just one thing to mention, what I have done wrong here in the first one. After you activated the Python virtual environment, you will need to run the requirements for it, and then it should work just fine. Okay. Since our database migration is complete, we will need to create a super user for NetBox, and we will use this one. If you want to run it as root or for root, username, you need to leave it blank. If you are planning to do something else, you need to type it. So I'm going to type admin. I'm not going to say anything related to the email address, and I'm just going to do the password. And right now our super user is successfully created. The next step would be to collect the static files. And right now for the final test, we will need to see if the application is working or not. And to do this, you need to run it on an unsecure environment. So everything that you're gonna see here, it will gonna be clear text. So I'm gonna take this command right here from here and put it on the CLI. Let's make sure that we are in the correct folder, and we are. Okay, it started, so we will need to go to our web interface right now. Which is 10.0.100.14, and the port is 8000. Okay, I did a small mistake. It's 10.0.100 here. It is not working. Let's check if our firewall is enabled or not. I'm just gonna go to this one here, to this session, and check the firewall D service. Yes, and it is enabled, and most probably this is the reason why we cannot get to the web interface for NetBox. So we will need to disable it and stop it. Or for example, if you're running this into a production environment, you just simply need to add the access rule that it will allow the traffic. But in my case, because I have a lab environment, I will simply disable it and stop it. Okay, and right now we should get a connection to it, and we did. So this is how the web interface looks like. Let's log in with our super user. And as you can see, everything is in there, and we actually have the rights to view and edit everything. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe, share it, hit the notification bells icon, and talk to you guys in the next one.